Ms. Moore, we're here to debate a current HR issue. On the pro side will be Nico Johnston and I, Devin Green, and on the con side will be Lauren Padilla and Von Pop. Here's our introduction. I understand we're all striving for the same thing at the end of the day, which is to be successful, to be happy, and to be fulfilled in life, however that may look for each person. We must also give room to the generation behind us trying to find their sense of purpose as well. A company such as ours here at CVS prides itself in improving the well being of everybody that is affiliated with our stores, from our customers to our employees, all the way to our executives. I believe that the well being can also be attributed to career advancement. In a country such as ours, bel- is a country such as ours, for some people, career advancement grants people the opportunity to gain fulfillment in life. How can we as a company express our stance on improving well-being when we are not improving the well-being of our younger employees? How could customers feel about shopping at our stores if they knew that career advancement is something that is better preached and practiced at our company? This is the case we find ourselves today here at CVS. Here's our background on the issue. The issue we are currently dealing with is that although Kelly has one of the largest salaries in the office and is one of the most tenured employees, she produces smaller amounts of work compared to her younger counterparts. This is in part due to her having five children, which sometimes forces her to leave work early to tend to them. While Kelly is working shorter hours for a longer salary, we have a team of younger employees that are able to work longer hours for a considerably lower salary to start. To elaborate on the ethical issues that may be presented in the situation, there has been a debate whether seniority should be prioritized over productive work output. Although seniority is put in priority in many aspects, should it be given priority over efficient work output? There are two definitions that us, the pro side, would like to present. The first definition is seniority, which is defined by Merriam-Webster's dictionary to mean the privileged status attained by continuous length of service at a company. Another definition that we would like to present is retirement slowdown, which is defined by the American Economic Association to mean fewer people are retiring due to initial age structure, which has contributed to the deteriorating of early career outcomes. Our framework is if we, the pro side, can prove productivity should be prioritized over seniority, retirement slowdown is affecting early career outcomes, and helping younger employees strengthens the company, then you should vote for us. Thus, we affirm the resolution for companies to replace more senior employees for newer employees to be able to save money and have more ingenuity for the company. The course of action that we suggest and will support is we should fire Kelly and replace her with younger employees who are able to work longer hours for a smaller salary. We suggest CVS implements its tenure policy that gives the ability to replace workers based on their work performance, no matter their seniority. We also uphold the standard to uplift our newer employees in the company by awarding them the same opportunities as tenured employees and vice versa. And I'd like to pass it to Nico for our first argument.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Our team believes that productivity and performance should be prioritized over seniority when making decisions about advancement within a company. Now, while seniority and loyalty are valuable qualities in the workplace, organizations must also focus on efficiency, fairness, and long term success. Now, our first argument is that productivity should be prioritized over seniority. Now, Kelly, she's a long term employee with the company who she's shown loyalty to the company in her entire stay. She's earned a high salary over time. Her dedication should be respected. However, the situation shows that her current productivity is lower than that of some of her younger coworkers. Now, although there are understandable personal factors involved, such as caring for her children, the company must still evaluate employees based on their overall contributions as a whole. Now, in most workplaces, promotions and opportunities should be tied to performance results rather than simply, how long someone's worked with the company. When organizations prioritize productivity, they create an environment where employees are motivated to perform at their highest level possible. Now, research from the Society for Human Resource Management supports this idea. These studies within that show that promotions and rewards are based on performance rather than seniority alone. This helps the employee motivation and productivity in the workplace increase. When workers believe that their effort will be recognized fairly, they're more likely to contribute their best work possible. Now, in our situation, the younger employees may still be producing more work than Kelly, but still may not receive the same opportunities if seniority is a main factor for advancement. This can cause highly productive employees to feel overlooked as a whole. Now, this matters because rewarding seniority instead of productivity can lead to high performing employees leaving the company. Now, when these employees feel that their contributions aren't recognized, they may look for other opportunities elsewhere, like for other companies. Now, companies then risk losing talented coworkers who contribute to their long term success as a company. Now, our second argument is that helping younger employees grow strengthens the organization. Now, while experience is important, companies must also create opportunities for newer employees who show strong potential. If these senior employees remain in high level roles for long periods of time, even when productivity decreases, this can limit the opportunities for these younger coworkers to move forward. Now, economists refer to this situation as a whole as retirement slowdown. Now, research shows that when senior employees stay in higher positions for longer, these younger workers have fewer chances to advance. This can cause disengagement or push talented employees to leave for other opportunities. Now, this matters because organizations must develop new talent in order to remain competitive. Now, supporting productive younger employees also helps create future leaders and ensure long term growth as a company. Now, in conclusion, while seniority and loyalty should also be respected in tandem together, productivity and performance should play the most important role in determining advancement. Now, at this point, I would like to transition to my teammate Devion, who will continue explaining our team's perspective.
I'd like to explain our second argument, which is retirement slowdown is affecting the younger generation. Argument is that the slowdown of retirement of older Americans in the U.S. labor market is a major factor in the deterioration of early career outcomes for younger employees. The rise in labor supply of older Americans has affected prospective jobs in the labor market entrants in recent years. This is due to a variety of reasons. Evidence to support this is shown in the article written by author Paul Monin titled The Impact of the Retirement Slowdown on the U.S. Youth Labor Market. And it explains that due to the increase in Americans aged 55 and older being employed, there has been a decline in labor market outcomes for younger Americans. In the article, evidence states that while fewer retirements does not seem to lead to lower employment levels in young adults aged between 22 and 30, it does negatively impact the type of jobs that they hold and the wages that they earn. This is showing that it doesn't negatively directly impact the amount of jobs that they have. It doesn't create less jobs for these employees to have per se, but it creates less high skilled jobs for these employees to have. Those executive positions, those manager positions are being held by older employees 55 and older, and it's leaving less room for younger generations to gain those high skill roles until they hit those certain ages. In the article, it also presents that in time zones where fewer older workers retire due to the initial age structure, the occupational distribution among young workers shifts away from high skilled jobs to low skilled jobs, which is what I explained that it leaves less high skilled jobs for people coming out of college, people that are going to school to get these skills, to get these high level positions, to like we explained earlier, for gain fulfillment in the life that they want, it leaves less room for those people to do that due to having a higher level of older Americans in those roles. This matters because by allowing Kelly to continue in her high paying role while not producing as much output as younger employees, she is effectively adding to the retirement slowdown by keeping her high level position due to tenure, but not so much due to her efficiency. It is shifting the high skilled jobs that many employees went to college to obtain into low skilled jobs that are offered to them. And I'd like to pass it back to Nico for our third argument.
And our third argument is in regards to helping younger employees in the company and how that strengthens the overall organization as a whole. Now, our argument is that seniority alone isn't enough to allow younger workers to move up the career ladder. Kelly's a case in point. Now, she earns a high income, but is less productive than some of her colleagues. In addition to her experience with the company policy should also allow for long term nurturing of productive and promising newer employees. Now, the evidence to support this is that studies in the field of labor economics found that keeping older employees in high level jobs for long periods of time, even though their productivity decreases, this may slow down the career progress of these younger coworkers. This phenomenon is known as the retirement slowdown, like we mentioned earlier, where entry level workers have less opportunities to progress through the same leadership roles. Now, the limited opportunities for promotion may cause young coworkers to become disengaged or seek career advancement elsewhere. Now, this matters for the company to continue innovating and competing because it ensures that its younger, talented employees are retained. Now, the challenge for CVS lies in balancing its more experienced, likely more expensive employees with its younger employees, all of whom now need opportunities for growth in careers with the company. Now, I'm going to pass it to Devion with our conclusion.
Our conclusion is based on our arguments, we think that she should take the following action. First, Kelly's position should be reevaluated and replaced by younger employees who are willing to work hard and bring contemporary ideas to the team. We also believe that policies should be put in place that prevent employees from remaining at high level positions if their work output or ideas produced don't maintain to a certain level expected. Thank you guys.
Thank you. We would like to talk about the con side of this argument now. So it seems that companies nowadays have adopted a sort of Moneyball outlook in terms of their operating strategies. What I mean by this is that they focus a lot on the short-term gains and profits that they can get and sort of look away from the long-term visions and objectives that they have for the company. And we at CVS are, doing this as well. And this shift in the culture has caused us to start looking internally to cut cost cuts, which includes cutting more experienced and senior employees in favor of younger or cheaper ones. This is the case with our employee Kelly, who is being put in this situation, and her expertise, as well as the institutional knowledge she has with us, is being neglected and can go to waste if she is fired. She is versed in our past marketing campaigns. She's fully aware of what tactics have worked, what tactics have not worked in the past for us. She's a very trusted and reliable part of the team who gets her work done in spite of having these five children that she needs to take care of. A new rehire could cut costs for the firm, in the short term, but this could also result in profit losses that are greater than that of the gains taken from replacing her. We would like to present a couple definitions. The first one being institutional knowledge, which defined by the Smart Tribune means the collective knowledge, expertise, and information that is unique to an organization. Our second one is ageism, which is defined by the World Health Organization to mean the stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination towards what others or oneself based on age. If we can prove that experience improves decision making, if neglecting market representation can be detrimental to the company, as well as moral and company culture is elevated through diversity in age and seniority, then you should vote for us. We negate the resolution that new employees should replace more senior ones due to more time, cheaper labor, or contemporary ideas, possibly. We further suggest the course of action to be taken that we need to implement a performance review system within our company where we assess the positions that should be reassigned based more on performance and less on seniority and pay. Or yeah. And I would like to give it to Lauren to talk about our first argument.
Okay, thank you. Our first argument is going to be experience improves decisions. Experience plays a critical role in improving the quality of decision making in the marketing department. Having experience in the department allows for a more precise and articulated decision. The evidence we have that supports this is from the article Education versus Experience, Which Makes Marketing Better. This was written by Marketing Mag. This shows the research of different types of experience level marketers. They interviewed about 5 marketers, all with different levels of experience, anywhere from straight into marketing for years and years to fresh out of school into marketing with years of education and preparation. Despite all of them, all their differences in educational background, all participants emphasized that their ability to make effective decisions came primarily from an on-the-job experience and collaboration with their colleagues that have more experience than them, rather than just formal education, stating that they did not learn only from their schools and education, but from their colleagues and experience. This matters because without older people or more experienced people, such as Kelly in the marketing department, the marketing team has more room for error and mistakes when there's less experienced people on the team. People with less experience are still capable of making decisions, but it's always good to have people to guide you and share their stories with you rather than to just go in with no idea. This shows that no matter how much school you go to or how young you are, marketing experiences are what matters for all marketing decisions. And now I'm going to pass it to Vaughn for our second argument.
Yeah, so our second argument is basically saying that getting rid of these more senior employees would make it harder to reach certain audiences and demographics, which could reduce the effectiveness of our marketing and cut profitability. Do we have evidence to support this? There's a couple articles, one from Dupe Owajayi, which is titled Marketing's Ageism Issue, where she looks at the percentage of market employees in each age range and sees that there are a lot less senior roles as opposed to younger roles or younger people in these roles. She cites this as a definite cost-cutting driven mistake. Another article from Patty Temple Rocks titled Ageism in Marketing is Not Only Harmful, It's Bad for Business, lists further statistics, which one of them being that there are 74 million baby boomers in the domestic workforce, but they make up 54% of household wealth in America. This matters because neglecting certain markets, especially these more senior markets, can cause massive profit losses for our company. A lack of exposure or even inaccurate representation towards them can turn these possible customers away from us, and it would make us lose out, basically. So this can be caused by either a lack of experience and or relatability that these younger employees might have when looking out into these different demographics. And that would be, obviously a big loss to take away the more senior employees that we have that can get into the minds of what these people who have been in the workforce for 30, 40 years are really looking towards when it comes to marketing towards them. And I'd like to pass it back to Lauren.
Okay, so for our last argument, we are doing impact of all age bias. This means that age bias across all age group negatively impacts the workplace. This limits diversity, reinforces the harmful stereotypes of age, and it reduces overall innovation, which is not good for the creative aspect. Age discrimination leads to an underevaluation of older and younger employees, especially in marketing where people think you have to be young and fresh because you need to stay up to date and up with the trends, which isn't true. The evidence that we have that supports this is from an article called Overcoming Ageism in the Marketing Profession by Tom Pick. This states the industry often prioritizes youthful imagery, which leads to companies favoring younger employees, and by doing so, this impacts the diversity of companies and also discourages the older employees or more experienced employees from sharing their insights and experiences with the younger employees or the newer employees. They mentioned that about 84% of marketing employees have experienced age discrimination, which could be being viewed as incapable of using technology because they're older and wanting more pay or demanding more pay, which is very harmful because that discourages people who truly deserve more pay and are more experienced from working at these places. This matters because age discrimination in the workplace is eliminating the diversity and different levels of experiences. When companies exclude and undervalue employees based on their age, they lose benefits and varied perspectives and experiences in marketing, especially. And the success depends on understanding different levels of audiences, and this requires a lot of input from different generations, such as Gen X and baby boomers. This without that, there's no balance. It's just flat one way, and that's just not good. So the companies could risk having less creative sides and less inclusive work. And now I'm going to pass it to Vaughn for our conclusion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, based on our arguments, we think that the following actions should be taken. First off, we think that Kelly should be kept in her position. She should not be fired. We think that CVS should implement a performance review system that judges based off of employee as well as possibly customer reviews of an individual, of a worker, to see what positions really need to be appointed. Furthermore, we also believe in a sort of mentorship program where we pair a more senior employee to a younger employee and have them work together. They can help them collaborate on ideas. It can promote a positive environment and culture for, the company, the office, and they can work on ideas together and make sure that the campaigns that they run will tend to all the audiences and demographics and that they're not pigeonholing into one lane. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we can start the rebuttal. The question that I have is something that you guys brought up is experience improves decision making. How can these younger employees come from college and gain experience by to get those roles?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I would say the best way to do that is making connections and taking those internships wherever you can get them, because the more you are in the department of marketing, the more you will gain experiences. Even just working in customer service will help you with that. And then once you get that job, just communicating and sharing your ideas and listening to these more experienced employees will just help you thrive and get further up like they did too.
Or thank you.
Yeah, and then I had a question. So you guys talked about the retirement slowdown thought process, I was wondering, so obviously we want these younger people to have jobs, but what about the more senior employees who also need these jobs? They're not quite at that retirement point. What can be done for that?
I feel a lot of senior guys a very good question, Vaughn. I feel like a lot of senior employees have the option to use their pension, have the option to use different types of retirement stuff that a lot of younger employees don't get the opportunity to have. A lot of younger employees don't have a pension. They're talking about they're not going to have the opportunity to even have social security in the future. So a lot of older employees already have the opportunity to get those type of sustainability factors that a lot of younger employees don't. Good question, Juan.
Thank you.